Class average.
Okay, number 424. I did mention this one to a group on Friday. 424. And I'm going to talk about a couple of them in this group. I have mentioned them to you before, I do know. And that is the Fagus sylvatica group of plants.
Sorry, like what?
Fagus sylvatica, European beech. And these are overall a fairly classy group of plants. They're usually fairly large trees with quite a variety of forms depending on the cultivar. This one that we're going to talk about is Asplenifolia, or the Fernleaf beech. And if you look at the leaves, you'll see that they're quite deeply dissected, nice autumn color. Previous to this, they were a bright green. This is a large, broad, spreading tree with a very smooth bark. You probably have seen beeches in climax forests in Ontario, and they're often the trees with people carve their initials into them because they've got very smooth bark. That is Fagus grandifolia, our native beech. This is European beech. Unfortunately, there are very few cultivars of Fagus grandifolia. There are a lot more cultivars of Fagus sylvatica because they hail from Europe, and there's a much longer history of the plant propagation of them. So you can get purple beech, you can get upright, you can get golden, yellow, and as this one is, the Fernleaf beech. Overall, they're a group of plants that have the same growth requirements, i.e. fairly light, well-drained soil. They don't like a lot of water, and they all have smooth bark. They all have shiny leaves, different colors, different forms, and they can be quite long-lived and quite broad spread unless they're narrow cultivars. So this one, Asplenifolia, can be really quite a broad tree and quite a large tree, not necessarily suitable for a small landscape. I was at the Toronto Botanic Gardens on Sunday. They're actually using them there as a hedge, the straight species, Fagus sylvatica, clipping them as a hedge, which you can do. And what our intention here was, when these trees grow together, we were going to shear them into a block, just kind of a block screen structure. That said, they still make nice specimens to have as a really nice specimen tree. So where you would plant something like a maple, like a sugar maple, they would get not quite as tall, wider, but really quite big. Most of the cultivars are sterile. If they do produce fruit, they have a capsule that's deeply spined on the outside with a couple of seed inside. And usually most of the seed are not very viable. So most of the cultivars are grafted. These are grafted. You can see the base of this tree over here is swollen, so it's probably on Fagus sylvatica that they've grafted Asplenifolia stock. Relatively pest and disease free. I haven't seen much of a problem with them. Any questions? What's this vine? Right, so you can see this is a perfect example. Look out, someone might get whipped here. Whoa! So if we look at the growth in one season.
Oh, geez.
It's probably from there. Take that. Walk. Keep going to about what there. So that's the growth rate for one season. Let's take the whole thing as a sample.
Oh, I'm not carrying that.
Oh, sorry.
Cut off a bunch. Let's roll it up.
Caddis, where's that?
Chaos. Chaos. Yeah.
Where's with you in your belt?
We already said it.
Hello.
Why does that have green leaves here and the other one doesn't?
Like climate.
See?
Yeah.